Welcome back. Let me, if I may this time, talk a little bit about role culture. In previous sessions we've talked about power and we've talked about what culture does for your organization. I'd like to talk a little bit about role. And if you're going to talk about role, you got to put a couple of words in here that really mean something. Process and title are key to role. In other words, if you're restricted in role, in other words, if you have very high role culture, your processes and the power of your title has a lot more to do with things. And if you took the classic role culture in our world, the classic role culture would be the IRS, in which nobody ever answers a phone without looking at some sort of a computer screen or referring to a manual to make a decision. So basically what they're relying on is their process is clear, it's down in a book or it's down in a computer program, and that's what they do, and they don't vary from that. Financial institutions, as a general rule, have a tendency to have higher role cultures, and that's because there's much more restriction from federal government and local government on what they do, and part of that is created from the chaos of our recent recessions and some of this stuff, but it's always been a bit like that. It's important to note, though, even no matter where your role culture numbers fall in from your currently have and currently preferred, if you move them just a couple of notches, you make tremendous differences. At the very top level, process is really the thing. In other words, we have an established process, and this is the way we do it. Don't get outside the lines. It's very much a color inside the lines kind of thing. Now that's at the extremes on the high level. If you have a very low role culture, and let me talk a little bit about what's in it for everybody. At a very low level, there is no structure. So that may tell you that you don't have any restriction on how your quality is and these kind of things, so it can hurt you. So low, at a very low color, there is no restriction at all on terms of quality, process, title, any of these kind of things. So there's a certain level of role culture that traditionally makes sense to organizations. Most organizations like to see their role culture less than what it is. And that's because they'd like less interference from government and less interference from other people. And many times you'll find out that role is self-imposed. We, at some level inside of an organization maybe years ago, decided that people weren't making that decision right. So we put it into a format and we made it a policy. And now the policy dictates everything. Even if the policy is outdated, we can lose our sense of how much we should do because we're restricted by our own policies. And so many organizations, in addition to being restricted outside, are restricted inside. And it takes away from it. When you look at role culture inside of an organization, the two things you have to look at is how much is imposed from the outside, how much of it is imposed from the inside, and how much change do you really want. When you come back, we'll talk a little bit about achievement culture. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about that. That's a lot more fun from my angle. And we'll look forward to seeing you again.